Here we go. Ratchet and Clank, A Crack in Time, special new review. It came out like 7 years ago, but I just played it recently. It's really fun. I guess so. It's like a 3D platformer. You shoot 'em up, bang 'em up, or whatever. Bang 'em up. What am I doing? I'm like an idiot. Uh, Shoot 'em up, beat 'em up. Beat 'em up's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I like it a lot. There's so many things to collect and hit. It's just sort of habitual. It's a weird thing, like bubble paper or bubble wrap paper. You can't help but play with it. Hang on, I heard a noise. Thought it might be a ghost. Uh, yeah, I like all the boss battles and stuff. The planets you can explore. I really like the shooting sort of sub part of the game where you can, or I don't know what you call it, a side mission, I guess, or what do you call it? It's another part of the game where you're in a spaceship and you can just go on these little planets, mini moons or whatever. That's an area where there's a flaw. Obviously, it's kind of abstract. It's kind of a kid's game, I guess, in some ways. It's not, the physics don't have to be realistic, but they're interesting. You go on this little planet and it has its own gravity or grip, and you just can go around it and kill all the aliens on it and then get a gold bolt or something. There's so many things to collect, and yeah, I just like it for the, you keep leveling up what weapons you've got and what I'm trying to think. Yeah, just like weapons and other tools and things you've got, like the boots you get that let you move around quickly was really fun. I think the gameplay is very good. It uses most of the buttons on the PlayStation controller, and it's a pet peeve of mine when games don't use all the controls, like where buttons do nothing and you're trying to figure out how can I do something. Make them useful. So this game, I think, makes use of them. There's some good humor, comedy. I played in German, so I didn't get all of it, but a lot of it I did get. It was funny seeing Captain Quark dressed up as a nurse, female nurse. That was funny. And it's hilarious that you can make your enemies dance when you put the Groovatron weapon up, or whatever you want to call it. Some parts were challenging, but I'm really glad I managed to get all the trophies except for just a couple. But I got all the gold bolts, all the zonies, the little robot things. It's really addictive, really fun to do that. You feel a sense of satisfaction that you completed this section, that you defeated these enemies, or you went through this platforming sort of puzzle trip, figured out these steps that you need to do to get to this specific place. It's a nice mixture of like skill and timing and figuring out what you're meant to do. And then later on you can use the map and you can see where these missing things are. So that's fun. I liked some of the things with Clank, the problem solving where you have to make copies of him and sort of go to different platforms and press buttons and stuff. Some of those were a bit tricky, especially the ones that you do later to get all the gold bolts. They're like extra challenges. They were a bit tight for time. I only had like a few seconds left, and I don't know if there's much faster ways to do it. There might be, but I thought I was pretty efficient. Anyway, I thought it was kind of a cool idea having Ratchet and Clank separate. I've only played one other game, Tools of Destruction, so far, which I liked, but it's nice because then I don't know, it creates tension. You want them to be together. You feel like they're not meant to be separate, but it sort of worked, I guess, having variety. But I felt like the momentum kept stopping. I'd get into using Ratchet and get used to all of his controls and weapons and wanting to level up, and then it'd cut to Clank, and then I'd be like, I was in the mood for more Ratchet stuff. So then I do Clank, and then I start getting into his stuff and solving these puzzles, and then I go back to Ratchet. I just felt, I don't know, it's kind of good, but it just felt like maybe it needed to go a bit longer with each character, because it felt like I wanted to keep going, and then you have to do something else. You should reward people you want to build momentum with something. Anyway. There were some parts that slightly frustrated me when you're trying to, with the boots, sometimes you try to move one way and he would just go to the side, and that was super frustrating when he would just go right off an edge, especially if you're partway through something and you've like been fighting a lot. fighting Vorsalon for the second or towards the end after you've finished the last mission. You've beaten Dr. Nefarious and this other guy or whatever. Yeah, that it was insane. I couldn't believe it. I had to be so accurate and just try not to get hit for as long as possible and hit him with everything. And I just managed to eventually, after like 50 goes, beat him. Another little thing that has the flaw of sometimes the timing of cutscenes and checkpoints is not quite the best. A lot of it is fine, but there are times where, you fight a boss, you die, and then you have to walk through, go into an elevator, wait for it to go down, and then he talks to you, and it's just like, cut all that out. Just cut me back to the start of the battle. That's where it should be. Anything where you're waiting, that shouldn't be part of what you have to redo. It's common sense, but it's annoying how many games are not good at this. I also don't think you can pause cutscenes. I don't know if you can skip them. I think some can be skipped, but some parts can't be. It's a huge pet peeve of mine where some games like Grand Theft Auto and Metal Gear Solid 4, Grand Theft Auto 5, I think they can pause, but I think it's also and the Uncharted games, I think it's maybe just newer generation games. It's like certain things catch on. Like back in older games, you couldn't move the camera. Now you generally can in most games. You can control it a fair bit, and it works better than in the past. But other things, hang on. Yeah, like with these cutscenes, a lot of games didn't let you skip or pause them. It's so critical to have that, and I think newer games tend to do that more. Let you just pause. There's other little things like I like to be able to look at options first before I start a game. I think this game does, but does let you do that. Anyway, I think it's very good. I really enjoy it, and it was fun trying to collect everything. I think it's also just the graphics are good, the gameplay, like it's very fast and snappy. There aren't too many parts where you try to press something and it doesn't work. It generally does what you want, and there's puzzles, and they have a variety of, most of the weapons are useful, most of the tools you've got are actually really useful, and you can use them in different situations. So anyway, that's my review. Bye.